Interestingly, the pieces that people seem to engage with the most, even the naysayers, are the pieces that are the thorniest, in my opinion, such as Crumb's Haunted Landscape. You know, I was a little bit scared. I love the piece. Love the piece. Done it several times. A little bit scared. And don't you know, after we played that piece, everybody wanted to talk about that piece.
Yeah. You know, my wife, who is a music critic, had a similar thought after she saw the new production of Satyagraha at the Met, the Philip Glass piece.
Yeah.
She said, well, there are a lot of people there that she knew, including a friend that she brought with her. And she said there's a lot of discussion about whether people like the piece or not. But they were talking about it. Right. They were engaged with it.
Absolutely.
Even if they hated it, they knew that something had happened.
Exactly.
That they engaged with.
Exactly. Yeah.
But a little something basic about the audience. The League of American Orchestras has numbers showing decline in orchestra attendance starting around the mid-90s and then picking up in the last 2 years. And there is also talk about the aging audience, and I certainly know organizations, one a smaller orchestra, one a chamber music group, where there's just kind of a trickle each year of people not renewing subscriptions, so they have fewer and fewer subscribers every year by a handful of people, but over 10 years it can really add up. Are you having problems like that? Do you see anything like that?
No. But the first year I lost a percentage of subscribers because I was programming contemporary music.
Yeah.
These were people who really only wanted to hear what they wanted to hear.
And so you know that this is why they left, because they
I
wrote
got
letters
I
and
got hate
emails,
mail.
told you personally.
Yeah. Yes, I did. But it's built back up, and I understand.
Same people came back or new people?
No, new people. New people came back.
So as many people as left, that many new people came back, or more new people? More. Because you created maybe a sense of excitement,
right,
in the
Word
town
got out
about the orchestra.
I would say that certainly doing larger repertoire, Mahler and operas and these sorts of things helps quite a bit, but to build the excitement. But also the contemporary music has been a big part of that, because it has helped with an engagement of the audience. And as you were saying, people are talking about,
right.
You get out there like they were with the Philip Glass opera. You like it, don't like it, the buzz is happening.
So how does the buzz manifest itself? Is there something that the orchestra does to give people a chance to talk? I think you go out in the lobby after concerts.
Right. Oftentimes I will.
Yeah.
Particularly that first season, I was out there all the time, and that's how I was really able to gauge what people really wanted to talk about. I can't tell you how many husbands of wives who forced them to go to the symphony have told me that they love the contemporary programming.
Oh, fascinating.
Which is it's a paradigm shift for me in this, because we've always treated contemporary music as the ugly stepchild of the standard repertoire. And now what I'm finding is that for this other generation of people who grew up on rock and roll or whatnot, the rhythm, the colors of these contemporary pieces are much more engaging for them.
It's completely natural, and it may appeal to people who don't actually respond to the standard repertoire.
Exactly. So they come to Mozart and Beethoven.
Romantic, yeah.
Right. They come to Mozart and Beethoven through the contemporary music rather than vice versa.
Yeah. So that is a fascinating thing. We know about the phenomenon. It's been affectionately parodied in commercials, for example, of the husband dragged by his wife to a concert.
Right.
And if you want to engage these people and make them happy to go and make them want to go more often, do contemporary music.
Well, let me tell
Does
you.
the wife then hold her nose or hold her ears?
Well, if anything that makes her husband actually want to go to the symphony,
true.
she'll sit through a Rouse trombone concert. Oh, yeah, appeal.
So how else does the buzz show up around Sioux Falls? How do we know it's happening?
Well, I mean, we do get letters and emails and that sort of thing, but I can't go to the grocery store without talking to people. It's an
important detail. You moved there. You and your family moved there.
We did move there. That's
you and your wife, 2 kids, you all moved there.
Yeah, we did. It was an opportunity to really build something there. Plus, Sioux Falls is a wonderful community. I hate the weather.
Yeah.
The winters.
Yeah.
I hate the winters.
Yeah.
But the people are truly wonderful, and the chance to our kids are now my daughter's going to middle school, my son's in high school. It was a chance for us to step back from the rat race of living in New York City for so many years and spend time together, to be together and have a little calmer lifestyle.
Right. And do you get into how much of the Sioux Falls community do you get into? Is it only the symphony-going classes, the sort of upscale, educated white people? Do you go beyond that?
Oh, yeah, I would say so. I mean, we're all involved in different ways. Of course, my kids are in the schools, so there's a sort of natural community around that. We're involved with our church and that sort of thing, so there's another community there. But there is that sort of instant community family around the symphony, which we wouldn't have if we moved anywhere else for any other reason, So that's also quite helpful. But the symphony family is a really good one and quite diverse, I have to say, for Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
There's one thing before we leave Sioux Falls and go to New York and talk about your work with the New York Philharmonic. There's one thing we should say. Sioux Falls, South Dakota happens to have a world-class concert hall.
It's true.
You walk into that place, actually, it reminds me of one of the less wonderful moments in Brahms's life, less wonderful to hear about, when he was in Denmark, I believe, and he went into a museum and saw some impressive artwork, and he said, "Why is this not in Berlin?" But it's not that you think this concert hall should immediately be moved to a bigger city, but you are really impressed to see it in Sioux Falls.
Everybody is.
It's gorgeous. It sounds wonderful. It's inviting.
Yeah, they really did it right. And again, it's that group of people, that community that was so dedicated that they were not going to cut any corners. They got, great acousticians, wonderful architects, really wanted to make something great, and they did. But we do have those folks who come to Sioux Falls also. Like our orchestra has a relationship with the New York Philharmonic that actually has nothing to do with my being there at all. But the New York Philharmonic played the first concert in that new hall when they were on tour.
And when was that?
99.
Yeah.
And ever since then, they have brought back principal players from the Philharmonic as soloists every year. There's a New York Philharmonic week.
Yeah.
Right. So.
You mean they play concerti with your orchestra?
That's right. That's right.
Fabulous.
Yeah, every year. And that is actually how I learned about the job, because Mark Nuccio, our associate principal clarinetist, was in Sioux Falls playing the Nielsen. And I ran into him one week when I was working at the Philharmonic, and he told me about the gig. So that's how.
Because at one time you were, what was your job with the Philharmonic previously?
Cover conductor.
Cover conductor,
yeah.
So you were there all the time.
Well, yeah, a fair amount.
Often enough.
Often enough, right. So, but almost every time a New York Philharmonic player comes out to play in our hall, they say, "This is not